this is what we're going to be tying. It's just a little Baetis pattern. All right, we're getting a size 16 Tiemco. Oh, which one is it? It is a 3761. It's basically a standard nymph hook. So I'm gonna get that in our vise there. No, before we do that, I'm gonna smash that little barb down. Since this do come with barbs. Okay. All right, get that in, and the thread we're going to be using is UTC 70 in black. We're going to start our thread. It's actually even a little close there. I like to start my thread right where I'm going to end my body, roughly. Okay, and then for our tail material, we're going to be using Coq de Leon. This is dyed fluorescent orange. This is from the brand UV2. So we're going to want to get between 6 and 8 fibers. Doesn't have to be exact. I like to make sure that they get the tips as even as possible before I peel them off the stem. I'm just going to flip those around in my finger to where I can grab a hold of them. And then I'm going to cut off the butt ends. Kind of get them down where you want them. This one we're going a little less than a hook length, or a hook, a shank length. So a shank length would be a little bit too long, so we're going to do something like that. I'm just going to do a light pinch wrap to get that on top there. Just kind of making sure we're keeping this up on top of the hook the whole time. And then I'm going to come underneath all those fibers and just kind of get them to stick up just a slight bit. And I'm going to lock that in. We'll do one wrap. So for our rib material, we're using UTC Ultra Wire in small and silver. I'm just going to get that where I like it, lock that in. Now that I'm here, I'm going to grab my body wrap, which I'm using Simperfly Midge Glint, micro Glint tinsel, which is a lot like the Midge body wrap from Montana Fly Company. I think there's a bunch of different companies making this kind of stuff, but it's really great. It looks amazing, and I think it's pretty easy to work with. So I pull it back till I get it close to the front tie-in point there. All right, once we get that, then we're going to bring our thread back to the front with loose wraps, kind of keeping everything ending right about there. So now with this stuff, you got to twist it counterclockwise. Clockwise unwinds it, so counterclockwise twist. I like to get it nice and braided. Now I'm going to do one wrap behind, and then I'm going to start going forward. You can do this with a rotary function, but I find this just as fast. You just keep your hand down by the bobbin, kind of holding on to everything, and then you can kind of like push the bobbin out of the way of the micro glint, and it's pretty quick. And then you end with your bobbin right where you want it to be able to lock that down. We're going to do one wrap like that. Now we're going to nip real close. Okay, now we're gonna just give it 1 or 2 more security wraps, and we're gonna go the opposite direction with our rib material here. 3 and 4. We're gonna lock that in on the top of the hook. 1 under, 1 over. Now we're gonna bend that back on itself. Helicopter free. Nice clean break off point. Now we're just gonna go right into using our wing case flashback. We're using UTC Ultra Tinsel, or Mirage Tinsel, sorry, in opal. And I just kind of like to make everything nice and even on the wraps. So I like to try and make sure I keep these little fibers up on the top of the hook there, just like that, before I tie them down. Then I leave the front like a little bit of space in the front there for the tie-in, because there's going to be a lot of junk going on up there. So I just get myself a nice little head. I actually like it right there. Now I'm going to be using some Loon high-tack wax. This is their S wax. Get it on there nice and good. Okay. And then for the dubbing material, I'm using Davy Cotton Golden Olive Squirrel Dub. I think any good squirrel dub will do. This dub is just so buggy. It's kind of hard to get on there. It kind of wants to not go on there very good, even with the high-tack wax. But you just gotta take your time with it, a little bit at a time. Okay, and we're just gonna do a pretty bulbous dubbed head here. With this stuff, I like to kind of go over it with my thread a little bit. Get that stick back a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's too much. There we go. Just like that. Okay, now it looks kind of chaotic going on up here, but we're just gonna, a bunch of those guard hairs are gonna come out. Now we're gonna use our fingers. You can use a brush, but fingers work. Okay, so we're not trying to really brush that head out. We just want to get those fibers facing downward. Now what we want to do is get these little fibers, kind of split them in half, and again, it doesn't have to be exact. You can get them exact. They can be a real pain to get going. We got 3. I need 1 more on this side. Okay, and then once you get, I just do 1 wrap, kind of keep those separated. Then I'm gonna peel everything back and just wrap until I get a little bit of a head built there. Now we're still not quite separated how we want to be, so we're gonna use this here now. Find our middle of our wraps there. And we're just going to use that to kind of split those fibers. Now we're just going to wrap up. And then I use my finger and I put my finger on the head of the fly, because this is where you'll lose that thread when that bobbin swings. Alright, now I'm just going to bring that over itself and just get some nice wraps on that head there. That's probably good there. And we're gonna nip off making sure not to cut any of our extra fibers off there. Now I'm gonna just readjust the fly so it's just a little bit more of an angle, so we're not losing our thread. We're gonna spin our bobbin so we have a nice cording going on. Now we're just gonna do a whip finish And that's going to be it. But with this whip finish, we can do 4 or 5 whip finish on that one, and see how we like our material. It's looking good. Now I'm going to do one more 3-turn whip finish just to kind of build this head a little bit more. 2 and 3. There we go. Now just being careful, cut real close. Okay, now our fibers are just a little long, so what we're going to do is just bring everything back. And then I like to cut it. I like to cut these long extra tail fibers that we brought forward in. I like to cut them just to about the middle rib of the ribs there, and bringing them all close to your fingers to do that, so that you don't, otherwise they'll end up being uneven. And I like to just kind of fray them up and get them. Now we can take our little dubbing brush here, and I like to just come down from the top on each side a couple times, and then just bring that up. Now we're going to just get some of that middle bottom stuff to come out. And there is a nice buggy looking little Baetis. So now we're just going to nip any of the extra long fibers off. I only want them to be to the hook point, all the fibers at their max, basically, distance from the head here. So there you have it. Little micro glint Baetis. And you can tie this up and you can tie it down sizes, and you can do all, it's a great little pattern. So if you like this video, like and subscribe for more content. Thanks. Have a great day.